She didn't plan on owning that land. It came to her unexpectedly. 40 acres left behind. And at first, it didn't feel like much. The ground wasn't ideal. The terrain wasn't easy to work with. And most people who looked at it came to the same conclusion. It wasn't worth holding on to. Some of them said it directly. Others didn't need to. You could hear it in the offers. Low, quick. The kind you make when you don't expect someone to hesitate. So, when she didn't accept the first one, people assumed she just needed time. Then came the second, then the third. Each one a little higher. Still not enough to change how they saw it. Because to them, it was still the same land, same limitations, same problems. And turning those offers down started to look like a mistake. Like she didn't understand what she had. But she didn't rush it. Didn't try to justify it either. She just waited. Because something about that land didn't feel as simple as everyone thought. And when the next buyer showed up, everything about it changed. The land wasn't easy to work with. That was the first thing anyone noticed. Parts of it were uneven. Some sections too rocky, others too dry to rely on. It didn't have the kind of soil people look for when they're thinking about crops. And it didn't have clear access either. No direct road running through it. Nothing that made it convenient, or efficient, or valuable. At least not in the usual ways. That's what the first few buyers focused on. They walked it, looked at the ground, measured what it couldn't do, more than what it could. And based on that, they made their offers. Low enough to take advantage of the situation, high enough to feel reasonable. Because from their perspective, they weren't missing anything. They were seeing it exactly as it was. Or so they thought. But she didn't see it the same way. Not completely. Because while they were looking at the surface, she kept noticing something else. The way the land sat, where it connected, what surrounded it, even if it wasn't obvious yet. Small details, easy to overlook, unless you were paying attention. And the more she looked, the less it felt like useless land, and more like something that hadn't been understood yet. The offers didn't stop. If anything, they became more consistent. After the first one was turned down, another came not long after, slightly higher, more direct, less room for hesitation. And when she didn't take that one either, people started paying closer attention. Because now, it wasn't just about the land. It was about her decision. Why hold on to something that most people had already made up their mind about? The third offer came with more urgency, faster terms, clear intent, like they didn't want to lose the chance to get it. And that's when the pressure started to build. Not from the buyers, but from the outside. People around her, questioning it, saying the same things over and over. You should take it. It's not going to get better. You're passing up easy money. And the more she said no, the harder it became to explain why. Because on the surface, they weren't wrong. Nothing about the land had changed. It still looked the same, still carried the same limitations. And holding on to it started to feel like a risk, even to her. But she didn't rush it, didn't give in to the pressure, because something about those offers felt incomplete. Like they were being made based on what was visible, not on what actually mattered. And until she understood that difference, she wasn't ready to say yes. I would love to know where you all are watching from. drop a comment which state you're in right now, and hit that subscribe button and make my day. It wasn't the soil that mattered, or the parts that were hard to use. That's what everyone had focused on. And that's why they kept undervaluing it, because they were trying to see what it could produce instead of what it could connect to. The land sat between two things that didn't seem important on their own. Not yet. But together they changed everything. One side had access, the other had demand, and right in the middle was her land. Not ideal for farming, not perfect for building, but positioned in a way that made it impossible to ignore once you understood it. That's what she had started to notice. Not all at once, but slowly. The way nearby properties were being used, the direction things were expanding, the kind of interest that didn't match the land itself, but matched where it was. And that's why the offers didn't feel complete, because they weren't. They were based on what the land was, not what it was about to become. Until one buyer saw it differently, didn't walk it the same way, didn't ask the same questions, because they weren't looking for land to use. They were looking for land they needed. And for the first time, the value wasn't hidden anymore. It was obvious. The next offer didn't look like the others. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't low. And it didn't come with assumptions. It came with clarity. Because this time, the buyer wasn't guessing. They understood exactly what they were looking at. Not just the land, but everything around it. Everything it connected. Everything it made possible. And that changed the number. Not slightly, not gradually, but completely. The offer came in at nearly 4 times what the others had been. Enough to make every previous one feel small. And for the first time, there was no pressure. No need to convince her. No one questioning her decision. Because now it made sense. She didn't hesitate, didn't second guess it. Because this wasn't the same situation anymore. This wasn't someone trying to buy land. This was someone recognizing its value and meeting it exactly where it was. That's when she said yes. Not because she finally got a better deal, but because the right understanding had finally caught up to the land. And just like that, what had been called useless became something no one could ignore. After that, no one called it useless anymore. Not the land, not the decision, and not the way she handled it. Because in the end, nothing about it had changed on the surface. The same ground, the same terrain, the same limitations people had pointed out from the start. But what changed was how it was understood. For a long time, people had looked at that land for what it couldn't do, measured its value by what it lacked, and priced it accordingly. But value isn't always about what something can produce. Sometimes it's about where it fits, what it connects, what it makes possible once everything around it starts to matter. She didn't hold on to it because she had a plan, and she didn't refuse those offers because she was certain. She just didn't rush a decision that didn't feel complete. And sometimes that's enough. Standing there, after everything had played out, it became clear in a way it hadn't before. That the difference between something being overlooked and something being worth far more than expected isn't always obvious at the start. Sometimes it just takes time for the right person to see it.